you guys doing? Listen, I know people are gonna be screaming at me, bro. Where has the Death Stranding content been? I know it's been quite some time since I've last uploaded on the channel, and I know people are screaming at me, asking me for Death Stranding content, but there's another DS content that I want to be talking about today, and that is Demon Slayer, the Infinity Castle. Let's talk about it. Man, when it comes to anime, I can't even express to you, I need to watch a lot more anime. I remember when I was growing up, and this was in my teens, I was 11 years old. One of my friends from high school, he got me into anime. Not anime as in he got me into the mangas, I should say. He got me into Naruto Shippuden. I started reading upon Bleach, but that was like so long ago. I forgot about a lot of the mangas that I read back in the day, and I knew about the animes. I knew about like Avatar, Naruto Shippuden, Dragon Ball Z. I remember about those ones, but for some reason after high school I just completely forgot about anime, and I'm so sad that I did, because this series is the reason why I freaking want to come back to anime. Demon Slayer shocked the hell out of me when it first released, because I remember I was scrolling through the internet and I see this video of a woman doing makeup, and she had like I think 2 videos where she did makeup looking like Kokushibo, and then she did a video where she did makeup looking like Akaza. And I didn't know what Demon Slayer was. I didn't even know it was an anime until I did my research to find out. And when I found out about it, I remember the first season was already out, and because of my intrigue, I had to watch the series. And so I watched it, and boy oh boy, this series surprised the hell out of me. Season 1 already got my intrigue because of the way that they balanced the story, the way they told the story, the characters that were involved. I loved the back and forth, and the music was just amazing. And after watching season 1, I obviously waited to watch season 2, season 3, season 4, and obviously season 4 was the penultimate finale. That series made me realize how much I need to go back and watch all the other animes that are out there. It's gonna be difficult for me to binge watch a lot of them, because a lot of them have been around for the past 10-20 years, so I'm gonna do my best. But man, this series was absolutely phenomenal. And when I heard that, you know, the Infinity Castle was gonna be the 5th series, and instead of them making a series and upload it onto Crunchyroll, they decided to make a trilogy, which is 3 movies for 1 final season. As soon as I went into the cinema and watched part 1 of the trilogy of the Infinity Arc, I lost my shit. Oh my god, this film was amazing. The animation for certain fight scenes, the CG use was phenomenal. There were certain moments in this where the platforms of the Infinity Castle was rising and it changes, and the way they done it was just brilliant. There's so much I have to talk about. There's so much. I don't want to obviously spoil the movie, because you guys need to go and watch it, right? And this is one of those movies where you cannot go in there and be completely oblivious to the previous chapters. If you haven't watched the previous chapters, you're gonna have to go and watch it, because you're not gonna know what's happening when you watch this film. You're not going to know. You're not gonna know how Tanjiro basically became a freaking badass. You're not gonna know the journey that he had to go through to get to that point. You're gonna be missing out on key points, because the way the movie introduces the 5th chapter, they don't give you any sort of recap of what happened in the previous seasons. They get straight into it because they know the fans, the dedicated fans, will know the freaking stories of what happened in the past. They will know what happened in the previous chapters. That's why they don't need to give us any sort of flashback. My god, I loved the fact that they did not waste time. They got straight into it. They knew that the dedicated fans have seen all the series. They know the lore, they know what's going on, and they want us to be prepared because season 5 is gonna start straight off from where we last ended with season 4, and I love that. This film was fantastic. I cannot do it justice. 2 hours and 30 minutes of a film didn't even feel like a drag. How they paced this film was fantastic. I didn't go into this movie thinking I'm going to be watching a movie of Demon Slayer. I'm watching a series, a 6-part episode in one sitting. That's how I went into this, and I did not feel bored. I love the use of, the backstory, the back and forth, the flashbacks of the different characters. Some people are going to go into this movie thinking, oh, I don't like the flashbacks. These flashbacks are going to be completely different because throughout the 4 series or the 4 seasons that we've had, most of the flashbacks are from the Demon Slayers or the Hashiras themselves, and some of them obviously are from the demons that they managed to kill. Whereas with this one, we get more backstory on the demons, which I absolutely love. They don't waste time giving you backstory of this person, that person from the Hashira, because we already got their backstory. It's time for us to dive into why the demons became the demons in the first place. And I loved every single one of their backstory. I think the most compelling one, the most tragic one, was Akaza. And I wish I could go into detail about what happened with his backstory. But if you haven't read the mangas, if you haven't watched the series, I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's something that if you want to dedicate your time to something, this is something you have to dedicate your time to. I'm not here to spoil anything. Akaza's backstory is one of the most tragic, and I can feel his pain. I can genuinely feel it. I nearly cried in the cinema, bro. The demons are demons for a reason, right? They become demons because their life is so tragic that they have to side with the dark side. They were like, okay, Muzan, you look like Michael Jackson. I'm gonna have to sell my soul to you. At a point, you do feel sympathy for these demons. They didn't become demons for no reason. They became demons because they had no other option. And just hearing some of the backstories was just tragic, man. And that's just parts of what I loved about this movie. There's so much more. The animations was something else, especially when you they were falling in the Infinity Castle. All the Hashiras, they obviously were falling through the Infinity Castle, and they were using their breathing techniques to save themselves from falling and taking fall damage. I freaking loved it. I loved it, the atmosphere of the Infinity Castle and how everything just shifts and moves. And there was a specific sequence that I absolutely adored, where there were platforms. And I'm not gonna say who was part of this scene, but there were platforms that were changing, and they were increasing heights. It basically is like a metaphor of who's the strongest out of the 3 that were on the screen. And when they were rising, they were this CG water animation that where we had water pouring out of some of the buildings in the castle, and it was one of the most amazing shots ever. There was another one where Zenitsu, my boy, looked like a badass in one of the shots that I saw. There was this red light that was just emitting from behind him, and it made him look like an absolute badass. That's like something you would watch in the cinema if it wasn't an animation, but this was an animation and the animation did it justice. That's just a couple. There were fight scenes that my eyes started to melt in real time. I don't even know what my eyes saw with some of the animations. I was just blown away with how great, how amazing the animations were. And not just the animation, the soundtrack was just something else. I've never had an orgasm of sound shoot right through me, and it gave me chills. Right? I don't know why I said orgasm. Please, give me a break. I'm still trying to process what the frick I just watched for 2.5 hours. But going back to what I was saying, the soundtrack was just on a different level. I don't know who done the soundtrack, but you deserve a freaking raise. Everything from the music to the sound design to the overall atmosphere was done to perfection. I did notice a couple of mistakes, but it was very subtle mistakes, because the experience that I had, it doesn't take it away from me. The experience that I had was just on another level. I freaking loved it. I absolutely loved it. And would I go back and watch it in the cinema? Of course I would, because I freaking loved it. I hope it does come out on OTT, because if it does, I'm gonna save it on my phone. But you guys need to go out and watch this. If you haven't even watched the series, please watch the series first before you watch the movie. It was just so good. And I make one freaking regret. I wished I watched this in the cinema when it first got released. I wish I did. I actually watched the movie 2 weeks after its release, and I remember, like, after I watched the movie and I saw the public reaction that it garnered when it first came out, when I heard the public reaction, I was like, oh my god, I wish I was there. I wish I was in that crowd watching this film, because I would have lost my shit too. I would have screamed with everyone. It's just beautiful. And I know that this is another thing I want to talk about. I did see some people complaining about the pacing for this film. As I said it before in the review and my thoughts on Demon Slayer, if you're gonna complain about the pacing, don't go into this movie thinking you're watching a Demon Slayer movie. This is a 6-part episode in one movie. This is the first of its trilogy, and we've got 2 more films coming. One in 2027, which is part 2, and one in 2029, which is part 3. And I am quite disappointed with the fact that we have to wait 2 years for part 2 in 2027, and then part 3 we have to wait 4 years from now. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that, but if you're gonna delay us from watching this till 2027 and 2029, you better bring your A game when it comes to the animation, when it comes to the story, and what you're going to add to this. Because if it's a failure, it's going to show, and people are going to riot. People are going to have a problem with this. The last thing I want to talk about is this. This movie became the highest grossing anime in the cinemas of all time. This beat its predecessor in the Mugen Train, and my god, this is breaking records. I have never seen a movie skyrocket this high, especially with an anime. I was surprised. And looking at the response, I won't be shocked and surprised if more people lay their eyes upon the Demon Slayer world, because it's so great. And I want people to genuinely experience what I have experienced. And they still got time. We still got 4 years before the last episode. You still got 4 years to experience what every Demon Slayer freaking fan have experienced. This, I cannot express to you how much I love this movie. I can't even put it into words. And I had such a thrill. I don't even know what else to say, man. This was a journey of a lifetime, and I'm so glad that I was a part of that journey. And we still got two more movies. I can't wait. Guys, that's gonna be it for me with Demon Slayer. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, punch the like button. Because of the awesomeness, that's not only the review to Demon Slayer, but you guys who like, share, subscribe, and comment to these videos. And don't forget to subscribe to your boy, Jason Plays. Yeah. And I'll see you in the next video. But before I go, if you did watch Demon Slayer, what are your thoughts on it? If you have watched the movie, let me know your thoughts on it. Please do not spoil anything, because otherwise I will remove the comment. Please don't spoil anything for newcomers. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.